I love how people have just like in society at large. Oh, mood swings. No, it's not just mood swings.
She's on her period. But it's also
biological.
Preserve energy, because overthinking actually eats away at your like mental energy.
Oh, women will overthink situations, or women are going to think too much, or women will talk too much about whatever that situation is.
I've been told that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've been told that flat out, that they're like, well, it's what you post on the internet. How can you get married when you're so publicly? I have seen many articles about men's health, men's mental health, for sure. And it should exist. That conversation 100% should be there. But why is the flip side of it is like when we talk about women, I've been hearing since I was this big, women are crazy on their periods. Like, watch out. And like,
standard.
Our mental health madness, and it is madness. A lot of the times I can say this because I have PMDD, so I got the card stamped that I'm allowed to call it madness.
We grew up together.
Oh wait, did we start?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Standard.
All right. So I learned, I hit the mic so much. I do this on the radio too, like literally punch the mic. I'm just animated.
I feel like every episode should have a shameless plug-in of City FM 89, our favorite radio channel.
Yay, favorite. And our favorite show, full disclosure, Saturday, Sundays, 5 to 7. I had to shoot some content this morning. As you know, I'm a person on the internet.
Of course.
And so I had to shoot some content this morning, and it was like something I've been planning for a really long time. And so because of that, you know, I'm thinking. And then I find myself, you know, when you want to take a nap and it's like the most delicious, like your eyes are closing, like you don't care, the sun is in your eyes, doesn't matter, you're gonna fall asleep because it feels so good. That starts happening to me, and I've noticed this as a pattern, that when like something intense is on my like schedule for the day, my body's like, go to sleep right now, close your eyes. Turns out, so then I Googled it. Falling asleep in one eye, I was like, please Google, tell me what's happening
to me? What's happening to my body?
Yeah, literally, I was like, what does it mean when I have so much to do, but my body doesn't want to take it? And apparently it is a stress response from overthinking. So basically, because you are like trying to, you know, you're sort of like in a stress mode, panicking, thinking, trying to figure something out, your body, it's like baked into our DNA, survival instinct, that like, oh, we are under attack.
No way.
We must preserve energy, because overthinking actually eats away at your like mental energy.
No way.
And physical energy. And so it tries to hibernate you like a bear. And I was like, interesting fact. And then immediately rolled my eyes and went straight to sleep.
This is amazing because this explains a lot. Like my grandmother, who you will get
Amazing
to know.
lady.
You will get to know a lot about on this podcast, because I talk about her a lot. I live with her, so I talk about her a lot. She will have a meltdown at any given point in the day, and then take a nap, and then wake up, and it's like a reset button. Literally, it's like and then she'll be all happy and everything is fine, and she'll forget about what she was yelling about an hour ago, pre-nap. So now every time she starts getting worked up, I'm like, listen, don't get your blood pressure up, take a nap. Have some warm milk, take a nap, and then it's like an automatic
warm milk that I'm just stirring something that you have no idea what it is in. She watches this episode.
She's never gonna watch this episode. But yeah, so it's like a reset button, and you're right. It's like a bear hibernating. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
I never thought about it.
I mean,
like
brilliant
this.
For sure. If it's like your nanny is doing, where she's like, you know what, I'm gonna expel all this energy, and then I'm gonna get a reamp. Versus me, who was like, this deadline will make or break my bills, and my body's like, go to sleep. You seem stressed. Let's go. And I'm like, nothing has stressed me out more than the fact that I'm falling asleep right now in the middle of the day. And but I was really like, that makes so much sense. And fun fact, guess who that is more common in?
Women.
Because why would we have a normal response to anything?
Of course not. We never have a normal response to anything. And that's something.
It's just trauma, just constant trauma.
One after the other. You said that you were working. And which led to overthinking. And you thought, and then you took a nap. What were you overthinking? Overthinking your content?
Literally, so I've had this plan in the works to put, I don't know how much I can say, but you know what I'm talking about. Now it feels weird, but like another podcast, essentially.
Yeah.
See, now it feels like strange.
We're gonna cut this out.
Yeah.
Producer is looking at us.
Yeah,
glaring. I can
and
feel
like,
it.
you signed
like,
a
are you
clause.
serious? This is episode 2.
Yeah, and you're talking about doing
Hey, it's
something
episode
else.
2.
Yay!
Congratulations.
No, but basically, I'm a content creator. So a lot of times, content that I'm being paid to make, there's higher pressure here because you don't want to disappoint a brand or this and that. And I think it's interesting because sometimes I can just pick up the phone and shoot something and I don't think twice. You know what I mean? Or this is actually something that was content creation for me. And it was so fun. I thought about it quickly, able to do it, executed it well. Everyone was happy. But sometimes for some reason, when you have these longer deadlines and you have so much more time to plan, it's like everything is finally at the moment where I need to start. And my body and my brain are like, okay, boss.
So you're right.
Sleep.
So longer deadlines, you have more time to overthink.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Why do we overthink?
Why?
Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about this.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About This, a podcast on DawnNews English. I'm one of your hosts, Elhaam Shaikh.
And I'm the other one, Sabah, Bano, Malik. And today we are talking about
Overthinking. Because that's a really fun topic.
Yeah.
Right? Because we do it.
Yeah, and it's shortened my lifespan. So why not? Why not get into it? Why not think about it even more?
So shout out to our producer.
Yes.
Because she sent us some excellent stuff.
Woo.
Because clearly she didn't trust us enough to come up with our own.
I'm just the talent.
Fair enough.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I'm here for talking, not for thinking. This is the one part of my day
And
where
I'm
I'm turning that
pretty.
thinker off. Yeah.
So research from the National Institutes of Health suggests that women are more prone to behaviors like worrying excessively about the future or dwelling on past mistakes. I feel like that's going to be our entire episode.
When I say that a tear literally just got triggered in this eye, I'm not even kidding. The way I'm like, yeah, we do dwell on past mistakes.
We do.
You know when you're sitting, even right now, if you're sitting and talking to me, of course, unless you're talking about me, I might zone out. But you're talking to me and you'll get like a shiver because you just think of something in your past.
Yeah.
The way that happens to me twice a day, and I'm thinking about a specific memory from 2018 comes and gets me, and no one involved in that memory probably recollects this at all. And I'm just sitting there and literally I'll slap myself and be like, stop, don't think about it.
Oh, so the next time you're smacking yourself, I'll know why.
Yeah, if you've
You're
ever
just
seen
randomly in your own thoughts.
Everyone in my family has caught me do that, being like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it." I'm literally like, I can't talk about it. It's like I have to. It's like maybe I'm not overthinking enough to delete it out of my brain.
But that's why we're here.
Why do you think that women dwell more?
I think it's more of a cultural thing, isn't it? We're, if we look at it from a broader perspective, it's part of our culture where we're constantly from a very young age, it's an understood fact that women will overthink situations, or women are going to think too much, or women will talk too much about whatever that situation is, and it's very normalized in our culture that women are the overthinkers. They will constantly worry about stuff. They will constantly stress about stuff. The only stress a man ever has is he needs to provide. Women are providing too here. Hello.
Well,
we all working women here.
Yeah.
21st century.
Don't look at me. I thought it was the
Definitely
25th.
21st. I think we moved on.
Yeah.
Or 22nd, whatever.
Yeah. Anyone feel free to tell us from this side.
Let us know.
Yeah.
But
We think, we don't do math.
But that's the thing. It's our culture has kind of cultivated this. It's just a thing. Everyone knows that, if it's a woman, whether you are in your teens and you are talking to someone, you constantly, the guy will be like, why are you overthinking it? Stop deeping it. I was just talking to that other person, and the girl's just going to go into her head and come up with all these stories and all these situations.
Do you think that one of the reasons why we think so much is because versus our male counterparts is because from a very young age, there has been a demand on us to be more empathetic and to assess situations where so for example, I read some Twitter thread because that's where I do my cited research is on Twitter. I saw a thread that I actually really liked that was about why are girls smarter than boys? And obviously that's a clickbait headline for me where I'm like, yeah, tell me why. No, but their point is that women are raised to constantly be on edge and ready to attack, and also to always make sure that the other people around them are comfortable. Whereas I feel boys are then raised to be men that kind of just like barrel into a situation. So they don't have, like you said, literally it's not having to think about these things. Whereas we have to be like,
Absolutely.
you know, if I'm walking in late, let's say today, like I walked in a few minutes late, you know, I'm making sure I apologize to everyone. I'm giving my excuses, and like most people are just sitting there like, it's fine. Like it's just get on with it.
Yeah.
But my instinct is like, I have delayed production. I have caused these people to be late to things, and all of these things, which is good.
But all of these things are happening inside your head.
In my head. Whereas
and
they're just
they're
sitting
stressing
there like,
you out. And in turn, causing you to take a nap.
Literally.
Wanting to take a nap right before this podcast.
Literally. It's a miracle I didn't sleep through my makeup thing.
But you're absolutely right. We're constantly thinking about these things, and we're stressing ourselves out, and we're constantly getting really deep in our own head. Whereas, have you ever tried to just switch it off? Have you ever tried to just be like, you know what? Today, I'm not going to overthink it. Today, I'm not going to think about anything. I'm just going to float through the day. Have you ever tried? I've tried it.
How did it go?
It was amazing. It was freeing.
Yeah.
It was
Were you
actually
at work?
Yeah. It was like a regular Tuesday.
I was trying to see if you had locked yourself in a room with no stimulus.
No. It was literally one of those. Okay, today I woke up. Sometimes I wake up and choose anger.
I was going to say violence.
Sometimes, no, I never violence. But sometimes it's like I wake up and like different moods. And sometimes I wake up and most of those moods are followed by a whole like string of like overthinking. Why am I feeling this? What happened to me? Did I wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Did someone say something to me? Did a car cut me off? All of these thoughts in my head, most of the time, I can't turn them off. But one day I woke up and I was like, you know what? Experiment. Today, I'm going to switch my brain off. I'm not going to think of anything. It was like a day in Ramzan. I was just floating through. I was zen. It was amazing. And I feel like that's what men go through every day.
Yeah.
Like that's their everyday, where they're just like, nah, not going to deep it.
Yeah.
It's just a thing.
I like this phrasing. I'm not going to deep it. I like that. I'm going to use it in my vernacular.
Learned it from a reality show. Not going to name which one.
It has to be Love Island. There's literally no other way that it's any other one.
You can't shame me on episode 2.
I'm not, trust me. I hope episode 4 is reality TV. I'm ready to bring it.
Yeah, 100%.
The other part of what you said was not just that they are dwelling on past mistakes, which I mentioned, or even dwelling on the present. There's a lot of like angst and stress and overthinking about the future. And like how I really find, to bring this back to Pakistani women, girlhood and things like this, I also think from a very young age, our behavior is policed and sort of kept contained because of our future. And of course, meaning like the marriageability of us in the future. So I'll give you an example. When I started working in Pakistan, this was like 2014, and I was working for a fashion magazine. And at that time, it was very common that like you went with a public Instagram account and stuff, because obviously like you're fashion girly now and you're on the red carpet. And my family, extended family, had made it clear that like, no public account, because, you know, those girls don't get married. I just want to point out that every one of my girls at that time married. Almost all of them have kids. All of them, mashallah, very, very happy. Me, I fell asleep today from thinking too hard. So you tell me where I'm at in this world. But I do think like,
again, overthinking,
but that is part of the pressure, right? That it's like, if I do this.
You had that thought.
You know what I love?
At some point in life, don't lie, you had that thought where you were like, if I left my Instagram open, is that why I'm not married?
100%.
Yeah.
I've been told that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've been told that flat out. That they're like, well, it's what you post on the internet. How can you get married when you so publicly
shame the men
on the internet? You literally say that.
Yeah.
No, but like, point being is like, you know, when you're worrying so much about this hypothetical future, it does cause overthinking, because you're like, okay, well, if I prioritize friendship or work or this and that, what does this mean for my future? And I really think that sets Pakistani women, especially like all through girlhood, we're sort of in this like cycle of like, I just want to grow and adapt as a person and be a person, but at the same time, like, I need to stay within these parameters or I'm messing up my future.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's why I think it is very
I think a
girl-related.
prime example of this is, you know, one of these soul groups.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name both of them.
Yeah.
But you know exactly what they are.
Yeah.
The soul groups, the girls on there, sometimes I'm like randomly going through and I'll come across like all these posts. And you can tell within the same paragraph that poor girl has overthought like 5 different things.
Yeah.
On average. And 5 is a very
That's a
easy number.
journey.
Yeah.
That's the plot of a movie.
It's literally the plot of a movie.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, this poor girl. And then I'm thinking, wait, she's doing this to herself. Literally, nobody. And if you read the comments, everyone else is like, yo, you're really thinking way too much into this.
All these other women who have done this all day are like, hold up.
Yeah.
But don't you think... Okay.
But then we do this to each other as well. We're constantly, especially on these groups.
Yeah.
The majority of those comments, they're telling each other off.
Yeah.
Like, isn't the point of all of these groups to prop yourself up?
Well, think about this. Do you think one of the reasons why, like, even when I've come to you to be like, I'm having a bad day, this is why I'm having a bad day, and then I'll go, wait, but this is probably why. And you know what? I should probably think of it this way. And you know what? This is probably wrong. So just chordo. Forget I said anything.
We need to bring something.
No, but listen.
It's going to happen.
All right.
She's been an RJ at 89 for about 5 years now.
Mashallah.
She reminds me constantly that it's been 5 years.
Yeah,
every
'cause she
anniversary,
forgot.
she will make sure that I remember.
Never even got flowers.
From day 1 to 5 years later, every time I text her, there's like, Sabah is typing, and the Sabah is typing for a while, and then comes a paragraph of like just all her overthinking thoughts. Things ranging from, oh my God, are you firing me? Oh my God. And all I've written is a hi. What's going on with you?
You know what I love is you're telling this story, and I think anyone else would be like, yeah, I go through dark times, and I'm giggling like, she sounds so fun. Like, Sabah, I am extremely neurotic.
Yeah.
But see, this actually does tie into what I'm saying, because I'll start with like, oh, am I failing? Oh, am I doing this? Wait, but maybe you're messaging me for this. Wait, am I talking? Like, and I will actually present my problem.
Yeah.
Give you 3 reasons why it's happening.
And then give a solution.
And I wonder if one of the reasons why women do that is because they don't want to be a burden actually going to someone for help without coming with the solution already in pocket.
That's deep.
And so that's, again, I feel like that lends into overthinking
Also,
too.
women are also conditioned from a very young age to multitask.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
I think there was even
a part
thing
of
about
this,
that.
yes, there is. A part of this is because they're constantly being asked to handle everything in the home, handle everything at work.
Yeah.
Women have societal pressure to be perfect.
Yes.
In case you didn't hear that, because our sound guy forgot to mic up our producer. Our producer wants to let us know that women get that societal pressure in constantly being like,
Yeah,
wanting
and
to be
handle it.
perfect.
And what you said,
And
multitask.
multitask, right?
Yeah.
So if they're multitasking their lives, their husband's life, their children's life, and their parents' lives, that's like 4 different lives they're multitasking. Plus, they've got their own burdens as well, which they usually push aside to deal with everyone else's issues. And once that happens, obviously they're constantly on edge because they're waiting for the next shoe to drop.
And if anything is not done to the standard that they're being held at, not only by themselves, but by everyone around them.
I was going to say, they hold themselves at a much higher standard. We hold ourselves at a much higher standard than anyone else is even expecting of them.
Sometimes when people tell me that I'm working very hard, I look at them and I'm like, why are you lying on me? And then I'm like, why am I saying that about my own hard work? But it's just so hard to accept it as that because you're like, it's never enough.
Conditioning.
And I think it's interesting when you talk about multitasking because, you know, one of my rules, now that I'm in my 30s and I work, I'm not coming in as thank God, as a chota anymore. So I straight up tell them I refuse to multitask actually. If I have things to do, guess what? I'm doing them in a list.
That's also because you're channeling that Gen Z energy.
Yeah,
whereas
Gen Z.
I'm still a millennial and I'm still telling myself I'm not good enough. In every possible, in every little thing.
No, I'm still not good enough, but I'm doing it as a list. I'm not doing that because I don't believe that I wish I could say bad words. I'm going to censor it to the word but. I think I can say but.
Yeah.
So I say do everything full butt, not half butt, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe there's a more PC way
glass
to say
half
that.
full, glass full.
Do
full.
everything with full effort,
Yeah.
not parcels of effort.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Plus I said parcel. I feel like that's regular vernacular.
Yeah.
You can leave butt out. Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, but
I
that's
think
a
we should
big
keep
thing
it.
of mine.
Producer, I think we should keep it.
And I also think that sets up people to fail. And then again, especially as someone who quite recently left a corporate type job.
Yeah.
I felt like because I was responsible for not only thinking of the idea, but executing the idea and then doing everything as one guy, it was too much thinking for me. And my brain would just at some point would
Meltdown.
be like, huh?
So I do this thing where before anyone has ever even said anything to me, but when I'm working on a task, I'm working on a show, I'm working on anything, a project, even some like just a presentation, I will overthink the presentation to the point where I will convince myself that it's not good enough, and I will convince myself that, oh no, my boss will never be happy with this, even though and this is the one thing that I do. I don't put myself in the other person's shoes to think from their perspective that look at how much I've done, look at how far I've come, look at all the things that I've actually worked on. I'm working on that for myself now, but for the longest time, that's my default, right?
Yeah.
That's where I go. And if I put myself in the other person's shoes, they're going to be like, chill.
Yeah.
You've done enough. You don't need to do more. And sometimes I take my projects to my boss and he's like, I'm not reading all of that. Like, what did you do?
Yeah.
I asked you for a one-pager. You've given me a whole presentation.
But like in our brains, I'm putting me in here as having Elhaam's work ethic. In our brains, it's like, yeah, but if I don't do this, then I haven't done enough.
Exactly.
And the first thing someone's going to say to me is like, what are you even doing? What are you even doing here? It's interesting because I think through our conversation, I didn't really correlate overthinking and imposter syndrome this much, but like, damn, they are very much
100%.
like hand in hand.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we do on a day-to-day, but that's us personally, right? But there are other factors too.
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
So
are you getting to it? I was slow segueing into it. Okay,
that was really
Sabah?
well done. Whereas I'm like, acha to, let me read. Also,
There's
do you
other
love
factors. It's
how
not all our fault, by the way.
you also love how I'm never speaking Urdu in my real life, but on Dawn English, so all of a sudden I am a Urdu poet when I need to make a transition.
English channel, okay?
Okay.
So yeah, I was gonna say it's not always our fault.
No.
Why isn't it our fault, Sabah?
Okay, well, because there are not just, we've talked about social reasons, social conditioning, cultural reasons.
Yeah.
Also,
My
why not?
Favorite.
My favorite. Biological reasons, which means it is cooked in us.
Of course.
And so this one I found particularly interesting.
And if there are any men watching us, because I'm sure there are, please listen up. You'll learn something today.
Number one, hormonal changes.
It's a very real thing.
Some scientists suggest that hormonal changes, like those during the menstrual cycle or menopause, so you're not getting a break either way, even when you're menstruating, even when you're menopausing, might contribute to increased overthinking in women. Similarly, women's hormonal fluctuations during the cycle, pregnancy, childbirth, and menopause, so again, there's no break, can affect mood and stress levels, making you prone to overthink during certain times. And each of those times I just mentioned are very stressful times, as is.
Girls, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Blame it on the meno.
Yeah, my favorite thing in the world is to find something else to blame. That's why I learned my zodiac signs. I was like, let's figure out why this is not my fault.
Again, overthinking.
Yeah.
Overthinking the zodiac signs.
I literally feel like when I turned 34 last year, I was like, Abu, I need you to find that birth certificate. I need to know exactly where I was born and where the stars were, because this cannot be my fault.
You made me do it too.
Yeah, I know. I literally told
And
everyone.
I did the same thing. I messaged my mom. I was like, hey, so what time was I born? And she's like, why are you asking me such random questions?
Do you know why he sent it to me? Because I said, if you send this to me, I'll stop blaming you for everything. And he was like, you know what? Good deal. When I was in therapy, my dad was straight up like, every time you come home, it is my fault. And I was like, it is your fault. But yeah, so the way it irks me to no end to find out so often that it is our biological and our hormones and this and that which are wreaking havoc on our brain.
Yeah.
Dude, it breaks my spirit, because I'm like, some of us start very, very young going through hormonal things.
Right here.
Yeah, right here. And you get treated like you're a nutcase, or
Yeah.
you're supposed to like have all these things under control, but it's not like anyone's putting in the research.
Nobody
Right?
talks about it.
No one talks about
We're
it.
talking about it,
Yeah.
but nobody talks about
Nope.
it. No one openly, like now, more and more people are talking about it, but no one actually talks about the fact that, hey, maybe you're acting like an overthinker or a crazy person.
Yeah.
Don't want to use the word, but maybe you're acting nuts because you can't help it.
Yeah.
It's just your body making you.
Literally.
And most of the time it is, and it's okay.
I got
Take a day off.
Yeah, I got diagnosed with PMDD like 2 years ago, which is like if PMS goes mad, like it's like the crazy one.
Yeah.
And it was such a relief to figure out like what is going on.
Yeah.
And actually, I just had a video kind of pop off because I was like, I just spent like almost 24 hours hating myself, and then I was like, hold up. And I opened my period tracker, and yeah, my period was like a week away.
Yeah.
And I was like, there we go. Because your brain, you will think in the most heinous ways. Like, you will think everyone hates you.
Yeah.
You will think you are the dumbest, ugliest, most useless person alive. It can get a trigger warning, but it can even get to the point where you're like, what is the point of even being here?
Yeah.
And I think the fact that it is tied to something that, like, you can say what 50% of the living population like has dealt with it in some way or form,
Yep.
menstruation and things like that.
I think 50 is a very low number. I
Yeah.
think it's a lot more.
Probably a lot
I mean,
more.
if you look at the female population alone, I'm pretty sure it's like 90%. And I'm sure everyone over here is going to agree with me.
Yeah.
Please comment and let us know
Yeah.
if you are one of us. But like in all seriousness, and they, I love how people have just like in society at large, oh, mood swings. No, it's not just mood
Crazy.
swings.
She's on her period, but it's also
biological.
like why is it that when, like, and this is a good thing. I
Yeah.
have seen many articles about men's health, men's mental health, for sure. And it should exist. That conversation 100% should be there. But why is the flip side of it?
Yeah.
Is like when we talk about women, I've been hearing since I was this big.
Yeah.
Women are crazy on their periods.
Yeah.
Like, watch
Yeah.
out. And like
Standard.
our mental health madness,
Yeah.
and it is madness. A lot of the times I can say this because I have PMDD, so I got the card stamped that I'm allowed to call it madness.
Yeah.
Is kind of laughed off and made a joke of, and it's not just like in pop culture. It's the fact that they don't even really put money into solving our problems, right? Like, I have PCOS, as does like every third woman in Pakistan. And how can we all have the same thing
Yeah.
with completely different symptoms? You know what I mean? And again, just wreaking havoc on our hormones. And also childbirth being one of the things that makes you an overthinker and crazy.
Yep.
So not only do you have to incubate this child for like 10 months,
And then birth it.
then birth it. Now you got to keep
and
it
then
alive.
keep it alive.
and then teach it how to read. I mean, it is
and
madness.
also make sure that it doesn't grow up to be a horrible human being.
But
So,
it
like,
will definitely grow up overthinking. That much we know. That's a coming.
that's a given.
Yeah, that's a given.
That's a given.
Yeah.
What's the last one?
Well, I feel like
We've talked about sociocultural.
Yeah, we have kind of talked about this one, but here's one we haven't. So the psychological factor. We talked about like the impacts it can have.
Yeah.
But this was interesting that overthinking can be a coping strategy. So women may use rumination, which is when you dwell or you think about something over
Yeah.
and over and over again, to cope with stressors, like conflicts at work, in relationships. And though it can temporarily make you feel like, you know, you're getting to like the end of the road with this and you're like, I'm about to tie this up and put this away, it can actually trigger like, you think you're ready to rest and you're
Yeah.
like, hold up, I didn't even think about it
Yeah.
from this perspective.
Yeah.
And it's so true. Like, I think even when we started this, you know, episode, I was saying, you know, I'll like cringe and think about something that was so long ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like that will still, that like it's relatable that you're sitting there, you've left work, you've come home, or you've left that family function, you know, maybe you had a fight in your house and you've walked away and you've sat down. And then it's like your brain is just like, well, let me think about how I could have done it differently. Let me think about where I was at fault. Let me think about what I could have, you know,
Tell
what
me
they could have
something.
done.
How many times
Yeah.
have you gotten into a mini altercation with someone, gone home, thought of a excellent rebuttal, and been like, I wish I had that. Also, you can categorize into overthinking because you're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
You've gone home, you've moved on, they've moved on. Like, it happens to me when I'm driving.
You don't think of things to say in the moment of the argument? Because let me tell you, that's not a problem for me.
Oh, really?
You know, you think about me. Me having the opportunity to have a fight in real life, I'm like, okay, let's go.
let's do this.
I've been waiting for
Yeah.
this moment.
No. With me,
Actually,
it's like I'm driving. Most of my altercations happen when I'm driving. You will learn.
Yeah.
Because I drive a lot.
Yeah.
Live far, whatever. Most of my thought process, most of my things happen either in the shower or when I'm all the overthinking happens in the car, in the shower.
Yeah.
And when it's happening there, it's like a deep dive. Most days I get home, I'm like, how did I get here? Because my brain was constantly
Watch
like a
out for her on
little
the road.
hamster wheel
Yeah.
in there, right?
Yeah.
How do you turn it off?
How do I turn it off? I mean, this might sound a little corny, but like I really like I have a playlist on YouTube which is called Joy.
I thought you were going to go meditation.
No,
like
no,
most people do. Meditation doesn't work.
No,
on
so
me.
I could go when I'm really upset. I will go on a long walk because walking's like a form of meditation.
It is.
And to be fair, like I have a
And also each to their own. You don't have to only have one. There's no guidebook to this.
when I meditate, I have tried it.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I start overthinking. I then do. I'm
Yeah.
like, am I meditating well?
Same.
Is my mind clear?
I do the
Is
same
this
thing.
Clear? Should I be
do the
thinking
same
this?
thing.
Stop
Which is
thinking.
why meditation doesn't work on me.
It does not work on me.
Music works for me.
You
It
know-
helps me kind of tune all the other noise out, and then I kind of like will focus on that one little sound or that one little instrument, and then that kind of calms me down, and that's my meditation.
That's nice.
Walking is another one.
Walking is a big one for me, and I will say, like, I bought a treadmill because obviously we're in Karachi. It's not like I'm taking to
Walking
the streets,
anywhere.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I would do it a lot when I was in Pindi and stuff. But walking is a big one. Of course, I got
Yeah.
music blasting, but sometimes it's silent, and I'm just like walking. I don't even have the lights on. It's just me walking in the dark, and your mind clears.
Yeah.
But the other one I was mentioning is I have again, this is kind of corny, but I have a YouTube like playlist called Joy. And truly it is like clips, things like that genuinely, like without fail, are going to get a laugh out of me. And I feel like if I can start laughing, I can like deal. And another big one for me, believe it or not, I'm a chatty Cathy. I like to talk.
Yeah.
So another one for me is venting. I'm very much, I told you, I learned my zodiac so I could make excuses for my life. So
No,
I'm
but
very
I
Aries.
absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Venting, I would agree. That really helps me too.
I just need to like get it all out, and then and literally the minute I've said it all in one piece, I'm like, okay, what do you want for lunch?
So,
like I just need it out of my system.
I was very different before. I
Yeah.
used to bottle it up, push it down, push it way down until it would pile up, and then explode out of me in many different ways.
Yeah.
Panic attacks,
Oh, I didn't mean to
blowing up
laugh.
at people.
I'm start giggling.
No,
and
no,
you're
no.
like, panic attack.
It's a fun podcast.
Yeah.
We talk about our stuff.
Yeah.
It would come out of me in different ways. Now, when I asked you how do you deal with it, this is how I'm coping with it. I've learned certain things that will make me feel a little bit better. Venting is one. Find that one person, use them as a soundboard, get it all out. They'll agree with you. All they have to do is nod and be like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Give you that validation. And once it's out of you, then it's not piled up. So I'm getting there, getting a little bit better at it, opening up a little bit more. And I think that's one way of kind of...
Yeah, because I was just gonna be like, but do you vent to me? Because I want to hear it.
No, I use the humor thing that you were talking about.
Yeah. With us, it's
you're
laughing.
my humor.
Yeah, we laugh.
Yeah, we
So
laugh.
I was gonna say,
We also like talk about
Yeah, yeah.
our stuff, right?
But like
and then laugh about it.
to like everyone. But so first of all, I vent on Twitter. You already know I'm in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Instagram stories. But like I just like, and I don't know, I think even again, the way we do it.
Yeah.
We start venting and then we start cracking jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think maybe that is, look at me solving women's problems. But I do think that might be the key to overthinking is like when you actually like take a step back and go, oh, this is a little ridiculous that I am falling apart over my perceived assumptions of what is going down.
When was the last time you felt like that? When was the last time you had that realization?
That I was like, I need to calm down.
Yeah. This morning?
No, I would say yesterday though, for sure. Because
Okay.
I'm not even kidding. So my birthday's tomorrow. No, when this comes out, my birthday would have long passed. But
Yeah.
you're still free to wish me happy birthday. But my birthday's tomorrow, and I'm a birthday blues kind of girl.
Uh-huh.
And I think even in that, there's been some overthinking, right? Like, will anyone remember? Does anyone actually like me? Is there any point in celebrating me? My parents hate me. You know, that sort of spiral.
Yeah.
And then yesterday at one point on my like fourth cry in like 3 days, just sobbing for 3 days. I'm not even kidding. One of our colleagues logged me into Amazon Prime and I've just been able to watch all these really loving movies and I've just been crying for days.
Release.
Yeah,
I call it a release.
Yeah.
You're lucky you have one.
Yeah.
Mine is anger.
By the way, it was like wailing, like
Yeah.
bad crying. Like
Yeah,
I don't
remember
not
the
like
last time
pretty
I cried.
Instagram crying. It was like, oh my god, relax. These are actors. Like
Yeah.
it's anything about an old love story done. I was like, I will never find love, like literally. And so yesterday at one point I was just like, girl, get up. I forced myself to stand up. I was like, turn that TV off.
Yeah.
Stop thinking this stuff. They are not real.
This is
not real.
This is exactly what happened to me when I
Yeah.
woke up that one random Tuesday and I was like, today, no, I'm switching my brain off.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to take a day off from my brain. And I did exactly that, and it was great.
Yeah.
So I think everyone should try it.
For sure. I do think, of course, like we have to acknowledge that, neither of us is dealing with children or a husband right now or in-laws and things like that.
But that's the thing. Everyone has their own journey.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own stressors. Everyone has their own thing. So it's not like, oh, just because you have kids or you have a husband or you have in-laws to deal with or you have parents to deal with or whatever. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own journey, their own things that are happening in their lives that they're dealing with. And I think it was really important for me to also learn that not in the easiest way, but in the hard way also, in some way or form, where I learned that, okay, you know what, I need to stop thinking about myself and I also need to think about the other person. Maybe they are being a terrible person or they're misbehaving because they've got stuff going on in their lives and that's their stressor, or they got triggered by something and they're overthinking whatever they're doing and then projecting it onto the group or whoever.
One tweet I read, again, that's where I get my guidance in this world, was we judge others by their actions and ourselves by our intentions.
Absolutely.
And I think that is, like, I'm not perfect about implementing it, but like one person in my life who I get into lots of fights with, I've like tried to start thinking about that. Yeah. But I'm like, I want to be understood. So I think other people should be allowed to be understood.
I was going to ask you to name and shame, but I feel like
you've already narrowed it down.
You've already named and shamed enough.
Yeah. I've been at it today. I've basically given my medical history here on this podcast. So yeah.
Okay, so I think we did a pretty good job, though.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
Look at us thinking now. We're like, I think we did okay. I think we hit all our topics.
Still overthinking
overthinking.
But I feel like we gave everyone a little bit to think about.
Yeah.
Where we also gave them a solution.
We gave them a little bit to think about, and we also told them to think a little bit less.
Yeah.
Think slightly less.
Yeah, we did. So I think we should wrap it up now.
Yeah. I'll take it away.
We've been talking enough.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to us talk about overthinking. And catch us on the next episode.
Sunday, 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Only on DawnNews English.
Bye.
See ya.